Yeah, good morning. This is Bang Bang Hill. Please press the like button and subscribe. Last night, about what, half nine, 10 o'clock, something, maybe a bit later than that, I had a phone call. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was someone else, you know what I mean? And it was a guy called Togy Ludlow. Me and him grew up together in Acton. Togy was a proper face, mate. Everybody was petrified of Togy. Him, the Hardings, Johnny Harding, Charlie Harding, Bimbo Harding, Dennis Harding, all that lot, yeah. Everybody was a bit petrified of him. They used to walk around all the time, always tooled up, mate. Always tooled up, down this little firm, yeah. And I was sort of boxing and started boxing and running and all that. Go to see a lot sitting outside the anchor, taking the piss out of me, way all that going, but nice. They was behind me, I mean, good staunch people. And I remember Togy, like, he didn't care for no one, mate. When you knew he was in the pub, you knew there was going to be aggro, you know what I mean? You knew that something was going to kick off, anything was going to kick off. You didn't know what it was, but you knew that he was in there for a reason. And there was all of a sudden, he'd walk in, and then maybe 4 or 5 behind him, and a couple more behind him, you knew it was going to kick off for some reason, yeah? And he didn't muck about, mate. He didn't muck about. When he went in there, he sorted it out. Anyway, I think he'd had a bit of trouble with someone. I think it was Pete, but the guy's name was Peacock. I'm not quite sure. I will get to find it all out, hopefully today, or tomorrow, or whatever. And he had a bit of trouble with this guy. He really mugged him off, and he did mug him off, told him it was this, that, and the other. He was going to cut him up, stab him up, but also this Peacock's a bit of a dangerous guy himself, yeah. Evidently, I don't know how the story goes, but I'm hoping to get a podcast on him, maybe today or tomorrow. It's going to be fantastic. I mean, some of the things I'm going to talk about now, he will tell you what's really gone on in my life and his life, yeah. Anyway, I know he had some bad trouble with Peacock, and evidently Peacock, with someone else's on it, was got a Stanley knife and cut him from here to what I round here, and nearly like chopped right his head off, and then he was walking around with a scar, I don't know, half an inch wide all around his face, and his face blew up like that. It was honestly massive. His face blew right up, and he just he didn't stay in hospital, and I think just come out. And I think if he'd got hold of this guy, found out where he was, it had been finished. It'd been a good night nurse, yeah. But it didn't end like that. But Togy was after that, it became even worse. He became more of a dangerous person than he was before. And but he's become a good mate of mine, and go see him around a lot. But I didn't used to like seeing him in clubs and pubs because you know to kick off, yeah. But only when I went to Albany, 73, 74, and wound up on C Wing. And later on, who come in? Togy. He come into C Wing. The geezer was the business, mate. He don't muck about, mate. And some of the things he's done, I'm going to tell you some little things, and obviously so it'll all come out later, right? He was talking about a big fight out outside my spur, and with a guy called Ronnie Walker. I remember Ronnie Walker got his Rolex nicked. They tied him up, nicked his Rolex, walking around the Albany Sea with a Rolex on. He's got to be crazy. He got it on a visit. He smuggled it in, and he's walking around with a Rolex. They were rushed in his cell, tied him up on the bed, got him on the bed, tied him up around the bed, and nicked the Rolex, yeah. And then Ronnie Walker was walking about like a bear with a sore head. Everybody was to blame for it, yeah. I keep saying to Togy, it was down to you last night. I was talking to him on the phone. He laughed and all that, and I mean, when he said what he was talking about Ronnie Walker. He said he met Ronnie Walker. He owns a big garage now in Slough somewhere. And he said, he said, yeah. He said, and we was talking about you, Ray, because he said he watches your videos and all this, that, and the other. But he was talking about the time he had a big fight on your spur, and he was fighting someone, and you jumped in, and Lowell Gibbons, opposite your cell, jumped out of the cell to have a go at you and stop people. He said the next thing you know, you turn around and knock Lowell Gibbons on the chin. He said, and he was out for about, half a minute, mate. You hit him so hard, you turn his jaw right round to the wall, you know what I mean? He was like, you hit him so hard, he said he turned his jaw round to the wall, he said, and he just sat on his arse and just, Low had glasses, big guy, big curly hair, come from Brixton, had a big car front in Brixton. Lowell Gibbons, a lot of people that know Lowell. I like Lowell, we got on really well, because he was opposite my cell, yeah? But because Togy was involved in this bit of trouble with Ronnie Walker, I've known Togy all my life, so there's no way I'm not going to stick up for Togy while Lowell's going to have a go at him, you know what I mean? It'll come out more so than what it is now when I do the podcast. But then, obviously, so when Togy was on the warpath, walking around the ring, I told you about someone looking for people selling drugs and business. Even though Togy liked to smoke and all that, he wasn't involved with any heavy drugs. And if he found anybody who was doing heavy drugs, he'd just go in, bump, and take it. And in Albany then, in the 70s, early 70s, let me say this now, Albany was a bad place to be. Albany was a bad place. Wings like my wing, C wing, even though it was called marriage quarters, right, for whatever reasons you think it was called marriage quarters, it was dangerous, mate. It was the small people getting stabbed up. I'll tell you a funny thing about Albany, there wasn't a lot of that, the sugar in water. That come out later on, you know, the sugar in water. It was that was a thing that was a bit out of order, you know what I mean? The way they nut main people and all that. But in Albany, it was all down to fights, lots of fights. Togy, when he was about, you knew that he didn't want to fight, mate. He didn't want to fight with his fists. I mean, he'd be walking around 4 or 5 handed, and he'd always slump about you, and he would stab you up. I mean, he'd always make something up, you know, pencil. I mean, some of the things I see him with his pencils, very sharp pencil, whoop, whoop, don't even feel it, you know what I mean? Whash. And I was always aware of him, but he's my pal, you know, I grew up with him as a kid, so I know that I'm quite safe, hopefully, yeah. And he was telling me about times that I had fights in the toilet with people and knocking them all out. I was always knocking someone out. It was one of them things, and then he told me about the fight with Tank and all that, and anyway, and I met him in Chelmsford Prison later on, and he was I was talking to him about the bath, when he used to put people upside down in the bath, upside down and on top, yeah? If it was your birthday, and so you got to hear about it, and your birthday was the next day, or you missed your birthday, you get tied up. Don't worry about that. Don't worry. Yeah, it wouldn't tie me up. Don't worry about that, mate. They get you. They tie you up. And what he used to do is put you in a bath, no water in it at that time. One person would be at the bottom of the bath, and one person would be facing up. So the person in the bottom would be the bigger person. The person in the top would be the smaller person, and then they fill the bath up. And the person at the bottom is trying to get to the top, and the person in the top is starting to go to the bottom. I swear to God, and Togy, how he's never killed no one doing it, I don't know. He does it for about a minute, and then he gets them out of the bath, you know what I mean? But you can imagine the panic, can't you? Someone's on top, you're really heavy, you're trying to get out of the bath, you know, and you're struggling and screaming and all that. I mean, some of them got out of the bath and fainted, you know, where they swallowed so much water. But Togy was mad. I've seen people go in that bath, mate, people you think you're going to kill Togy, but they get out. I mean, he's just a nice, likeable guy. I see him do loads of things in Albany. We used to walk around exercise yard, and I used to run around exercise yard. There was him. He was with some. I think Tommy Green was in D-Wing. I think I'm not quite sure. He wasn't in Albany. I think he was in D-Wing. Tommy Green was another one. I mean, Tommy Green was another nutcase. Dangerous man. But Tommy Green and Togy, very close, mate. Very close people. Have been all their life, you know what I mean? Because Acton, West London, mate, was a place to be. it was, I imagine that it was one of the hardest places in London, yeah, Acton. Honestly, mate, it was like terrible. There wasn't many people out there would come down Bollywood Road in the Anchor. You couldn't come in the pub. You wouldn't, mate. You go out the pub, cut up, chopped up to pieces. Togy, he loved me, man. I was always fighting. I was always knocking people out. That was what I was doing. People go, yeah, but I'm saying that's what I was doing. I used to knock people out, eyes winking. Any fights I had, I used to knock them out. And if I didn't, like the black guy I fought, he tried to kill me. Togy was behind me. There was a lot of things went on, but that's why I want to do a podcast with Togy. And when I did eventually end it for me when I was on 1074, I went up in Chelmsford Prison, and Togy was the one that come down to the cell and give me a dinner and all that, and then I went up to the wing. Togy he looked after me big time. He gave me anything I wanted, and the funniest time, I've had a few bad fights in Chelmsford. There were some bad people in there that if you had a fight with them, you know you'd be in trouble. You'd have to watch your back 24/7. That's a problem with prison, yeah. It's all right fighting people, but they're looking around your shoulders all the time, mate. You know, you've got to have eyes in the back of your head, because prisons is about that. You bash someone up, you're going to get stabbed up. Don't worry about that. You're going to get stabbed up bad, or one way or the other, yeah. And I remember Togy when he gave me that pipe Christmas. He's a lot more there's loads to the stories that he's going to tell me, yeah? And he's going to tell you hopefully today or tomorrow. When he gave me the pipe Christmas, and I'm taking it down, he told me, take it down. You know, cannabis thing, it was hard, so take it down, the solid, yeah. And I said, I can't feel nothing. So then he gave me another one. It was opium black opium black with a white stripe through it, mate. I nearly died. I went to the kids' parties, couldn't get out there quick enough. I was in a bad way. Everything was echoing. It was all echoing. Banged up in my cell. Got rid of my nails. Hid everything that everybody had big nails. I had big 4-inch nails in pieces of wood, and they had blades and all that in there. You hide things. Even like, I'm not instantly one of these people that like to use anything by my nose, yeah. But when you're in a place like that and it looks like you could get killed, you've got to have their things wrapped around you for protection. It doesn't matter about that, mate. It's about what they do come towards you. You've got to have something around you. And the best thing I liked about Chelmsford Prison was you could get away with murders in there, mate. You could have, your cell could be like a palace, you know. You could walk about, wasn't a lot of civvy clothes, but people, a lot of, I've got a screw that comes onto my podcast, yeah. Nice guys, Adams. But when I told him about Chelmsford, he said it couldn't happen, it can't happen. But obviously it did. He wasn't there. Chelmsford Prison was, I believe, the best prison ever in the whole of England, mate. Chelmsford Prison, you could get anything you want. There was always money flying around, mate. Money, like it's going out of fashion. People would get money on the visits and buy this and buy that. I mean, everybody was buying record players, radios, hackers, Robinsons. It was all for sale. Big pictures, paintings, all of them things was for sale. Always for money, and that's why money had to be got in on visits and party with you. Togy Ludlow was one of the best guys I know from all my life. He was telling me yesterday about people that are dead. I can't believe it, you know, because I haven't been in contact over 30 years, I don't know, really, 30 odd years, maybe 40 years, maybe even 50 years. Do you know, that's a long time, innit? 45 years. And I say to myself, he's talked to me about people that are dead now. Do you know what I mean? It don't seem possible that all them people are gone. And most of them people, I don't drink, mate. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do nothing no more, yeah? And I'm pleased that I don't, because all these people that have died, or drink, too tonight smoke, tonight drugs. I don't do none of that no more. So I ain't gonna die, mate. Not for a long time, you know what I mean? And like, and when he sort of like talks to Togy and he's laughing on the phone, well, it was funny because when I picked the phone up and he started laughing and giggling, and I thought it was someone else. I says, Terry there. He went, you got the wrong guy, mate. I said, who's that? He said, have a think. Who do you think it is? I've got to think. When he said Togy, I nearly fainted. Because I've been trying to get hold of Togy for a long, long time to talk to him. I think it was his daughter that phoned me up and said, Togy this, Togy that, and I sort of get him to phone me, give him my number. He didn't, and I was wondering why he didn't, you know what I mean? But yesterday, mate, last night, I got the phone call, it was like, honestly, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. Not that I thought he was going to come in the window, no. I just couldn't sleep because, come on, it was so many years. It's like crazy, it's like 45 years, 40 years. What was it? 08. No, sorry, I'll get me 08. 1978. 1978. How long ago was that? Fucking long time ago. You know what I mean? And when Chelmsford burnt down, and Togy, I think, I'm not quite sure if Togy come to Wandsworth with us, but he'll have his own story. If he did come to Wandsworth, I should imagine he was one of the people that chucked all the stuff. He would remember these two brothers, Long brothers, David Long and Johnny Long. I forget their names, David Long, no one's David Long. The two brothers from Albany, yeah, that went to Wandsworth and got a little bit leery with the screws in Wandsworth, and they smashed them to pieces, mate. When I say smashed them to pieces, they smashed them to pieces. I remember seeing it from the wing, and they like walked across the centre. For some reason, I don't know if it was for a bet or what it was, or there was a bastard screw up because something happened because of Albany. It was Albany, and they got smashed to pieces and they got killed, mate. And when they come up on the wing, maybe months' time after that, they come up and they looked wrecked. They looked like you wouldn't believe it. I mean, if anybody's going to go back to them prisons when they get out and go back and do the screws, it'll be them too. Because people can't do what they did to them, you know. They really took liberties with them. They smashed them to pieces, mate, with truncheons and just battered them. I mean, and you know, I never see them again. I didn't see them again after that. I don't know what happened to them. I don't know. But Togy will remember that. I think Togy was one of the ones that got shipped out, I'm not quite sure. Anyway, when I was in Chelmsford with Togy, but there's a lot of stories in Albany, you know what I mean? Loads and loads and loads of stories in Albany, about Albany and what happened in there and the people, this, that and the other, and what Togy did, what he didn't do, and Togy was a bad person. I hope he's watching my podcast. Good morning, Togy. Phone me later, mate, so I can get on to Terry. Hopefully we can get down and see you today or tomorrow, yeah? I want to come and see you. I want you to do a podcast with me. Tell me about the old times, the old days. You see the big scar on Togy's face, you know, and he's a proper man, mate. I mean, he's still dangerous. I think he's about 75 now. He's still very, very, very dangerous. I talked to him last night. He's still as nut as they come. He's still mad. Don't ever lose that, you know what I mean? But when he was telling me about the fights and all this in Albany and Chelmsford and what I was like, I can't remember all that, you know what I mean? But he was saying, you know, he's got a good memory, even though he's older than me, 74, 75. He's got a really, really good memory, and he remembers a lot, you know, about me and what I was like. I must have mellowed so much, mate. I swear, I must have mellowed so much. You don't realise. I think, personally, I think the IPP mellowed me a lot. Really, really mellowed me. Yeah. So much so that I'm no longer that person. Do you know what I mean? There's certain things happen, and I just let it go because of the way I've changed now. But years ago, it was like it wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have happened because it wouldn't have happened. Anyway, so I can't wait to see Togy. I can't wait to do a podcast with him, and you'd love it. I mean, people are going to go mad. People are going to go potty for the amount of people names that's going to come up on it as well. And he knows more about these people than I do because he's a proper gangster, mate. He was a proper gangster. He still is a proper gangster. Anyway, this is Bang Bang Mail. Please press the like button and subscribe. Say a little bit about later on, so a big bit. Good morning, yeah.